Amen. We're so honored to have so many wonderful guests with us tonight. It's such an honor and a privilege to have you share in this Shabbat with us. And I'm going to invite David Glickman, who's a member of our Board of Trustees and also the chair of our Tzedek Council, our Justice Council, who is sponsoring this tonight of Transgender Day of Remembrance, Transgender Remembrance. And it's really through his work with LAPD's Chiefs Forum, the LGBTQ Chiefs Forum, that David's gotten involved and working on transgender issues. David.
Thank you, Rabbi Egger. Shabbat Shalom. So I told Chief Girmala earlier that I don't think I could do her intro justice, but I'm going to try. So Beatrice Girmala has spent over 30 years with the LAPD. She's a lifelong resident of Los Angeles. She attended high school not too far from here in Hollywood, and then went on to study political science, public administration, and public law at UCLA, graduating, of course, magna cum laude. She joined the LAPD in 1985, patrolling the Van Nuys area. In 1988, she became a field training officer right here in Hollywood, and in 1997, achieved the rank of sergeant. In 2007, she was promoted to captain, and in 2015, she became deputy chief. A woman of faith and humanity, she is dedicated to diversity, inclusion, and collaboration in all of our communities throughout Los Angeles. She gets her inspiration, and I know this for a fact, from the women and men of patrol, whom she believes are the first line of defense in preservation of our values and freedoms in the public arena. In 2016, she was promoted to assistant chief. She serves as director of Office of Special Operations, responsible for counterterrorism. And if that's not enough, Assistant Chief Girmala is the department coordinator for domestic violence, hate crimes, and LGBTQ matters. She leads, as Rabbi Egger indicated, our monthly LAPD LGBTQ working focus group, where I have the honor and privilege to represent Congregation Kol Ami. In her spare time, what is that? Assistant Chief Girmala enjoys jazz and theater throughout Los Angeles and spending time with her daughter and her mother. And it is my honor and privilege to introduce my friend and teacher and mentor, Assistant Chief Beatrice Girmala.
Shabbat Shalom. Many people overuse the word privilege, but I will not do that tonight. I will say so in words that speak hopefully from my heart to yours. It is truly a privilege to be invited into this congregation this evening. I come here today with a very thankful heart, one full of gratitude to the transgender community, my brothers and sisters who have taught me things that no one else could, about courage, about love, about bravery, about being true to oneself, about holding your head high regardless of adversity, of allowing no one to define who you are, what you stand for, or who you love. That is what my transgender brothers and sisters have done for me. Not only made me a better person in the realm of law enforcement, but a better human being, and I'm very grateful for that. As I heard and contemplated on the notes and the beautiful musings of the trans chorus today, I just want to say thank you for the messaging that you brought to us, to our hearts and to our souls. Yet my heart is heavy as well as I think and worry about the hate that still permeates our streets for no reason on earth that it should thrive, but it still does. As we look back at 22 transgender women and men in the United States who have lost their lives this year to violence. May I ask you to join me in taking a moment to consider the pain and loss of those left behind and hoping for the beautiful life that has met them on the other side. Thank you. About 5 to 6 miles from where we sit here tonight on this beautiful and tranquil night, Vicky Gutierrez lost her life in violence in January of this year. Let us remember the sacrifice made by the lives of Vicky and the 21 other transgender men and women in the United States. As we carry on through this beautiful upcoming holiday season, let us embrace and celebrate the lives of those we have lost, but also contemplate what we can do to not just sit in worry and wonder at what has sometimes happened to our world, but think forward on how we can be part of that change. Thank you today for your fellowship. Thank you for bringing peace into my life. Thank you also to the transgender men and women represented here who have shown the ultimate gift of forgiveness to law enforcement for past transgressions, for contacts that may have ended in ways that they should not have, especially when we look at the history of law enforcement in this country. I thank you for the open hearts that you have shown to us and continue to as we try to become better men and women and law enforcers in this community. Thank you again for everything that you have done for me, for the Los Angeles Police Department, and in partnership and fellowship to make this city a better place, one in unity and in love. Thank you so much.
We're so honored to have you with us, Chief. So honored to be here. And we're going to invite the chorus back up, if they have another beautiful piece for us. And then we'll hear from our wonderful main speaker. We're so excited, Eli, that you're here with us. That Tristan, that you came out to tonight for us. Come on.
bubbles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why
Thank you so much. They'll be back there for another couple pieces. David.
Our next speaker works for City of Hope. Founded in 1913, many of you know City of Hope as a cancer treatment, research, and education institution, which is all true, but what you may not know is that City of Hope is credited with creating the first synthetic human insulin, or perhaps you didn't know that they were the first medical center approved by the FDA for HIV/AIDS clinical trials. Before cancer, diabetes, and HIV/AIDS, a group of Jewish volunteers, Tzedek Council, if you will, saw a need to treat people suffering from tuberculosis and founded City of Hope. These social justice advocates built the Jewish Consumptive Relief Association, a sanatorium treating patients with TB, and in 1946, the sanatorium transitioned, and I didn't write this, transitioned to become a national medical center. In 1949, the name was changed to City of Hope. And that same year, just 1 year after Israel was established as a Jewish state, Dr. Joseph Meyer, medical director of Kupat Holim in Israel, visited City of Hope to study this new hospital, their techniques, their people, and their equipment that he hoped to adopt in Israel. Peter Mackler, a fellow temple member and board member and friend, and I are blessed to work for an organization who has a rich history connected to the Jewish people, one of inclusion, diversity, and human kindness. Eli Mendelson has spent more than 2 decades working in organizational fundraising and development, the past 5 of which have been at City of Hope in the philanthropy department. He also is chair of Pride in the City, City of Hope's LGBTQ+ employee diversity and resource group. The group's mission is to create an accepting and inclusive environment that serves the needs of the LGBTQ employees, patients, and their families. In March 2017, with the support, this is hard, with the support of City of Hope's Diversity and Inclusion Office, Eli became the first employee to publicly go through gender transition on the job. He had grown up attending a conservative synagogue in Boston, where he became known as the Hebrew navigator, teaching and preparing children for their B'nai Mitzvot. He graduated from the University of Boston, am I correct? No? Oh, Massachusetts, excuse me. Lived in Chicago for about 15 years and moved to California 5 years ago. He's a member of the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, but we're going to get him to come to Kolami more often. He and his girlfriend Tristan are raising a mutt named Moxie and a chihuahua named Sir Bodhi, and it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you.
be cognizant of time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, David. That was very sweet. There was a lot of different ways I could go when I was writing this, when I was asked to tell my story. I decided I needed to write it down. I was gonna just wing it, and then this morning I panicked and said to myself, if I don't write something down, I may get emotional. Thank you, Trans Chorus, for making me very emotional up here. My girlfriend had to get her tissues out, and I was thinking, do I need to go up on my testosterone? But no. So I just want to thank you again, David, and the congregation, and Rabbi, for having me here this evening to celebrate Transgender Awareness Month by sharing my story. My story is only one of 1.4 million unique transgender stories. There may be similarities, but I cannot speak for everyone, so this is only my story. I was born June 22nd, 1976, as Ilana Corey Mendelson, with a natal sex of female. As a child, I knew I was different. Different, as I was taught, meant special, unique. I was special because I was Jewish, so my mom said. I was special as one of the handful of Jewish families at our conservative temple to keep kosher. I was special because my parents were near 50 when I entered elementary school. I was special because I was one of the first girls to have a Saturday morning bat mitzvah and read from the Torah. I was special because I chose to be the librarian helper in 5th and 6th grade, rather than be with my peers at recess. I was special because I did not want to wear makeup, even though my mother begged me to. I was special because I hated shopping for clothes with my mother because she wanted me to wear feminine clothing. I was different, AKA special. Then at 14, I had a thought. Something popped in my head. It was sort of a math word problem appearing before me. If Ilana has no desire to talk about, think about, want to kiss, or have anything to do with boys, and Ilana's friends are gaga over New Kids on the Block, going to parties with boys, stalking Joey McIntyre's house in Boston, and memorizing all of Patrick Swayze's lines in Dirty Dancing, what does this make Ilana? Special? Unique? My answer back then was very, very bad. Especially because I was obsessed with a girl. Am I a lesbian? No. Let's just ignore that. 3 years later, I'm sitting alone in my dorm room, knowing that my specialness meant I was actually a lesbian. I thought to myself, what could I possibly do to stop this? Anyone want to guess what this freshman in college did? So I joined Sigma Sigma Sigma, national sorority. Within a year, I was the youngest president on campus, and 6 months later, was the first out lesbian sorority president. I was definitely special. After college, I moved to Chicago and became a softball lesbian. I thought I was finally, I know. I had like 4 more paragraphs about this, but then I thought I wouldn't go there. Chicago sports lesbians are special on their own. So I thought I was finally not different. I went along for years and subconsciously watched my wardrobe evolve. First, it was boxer briefs, discovered as a solution to thigh chafing, but I really liked the feel of them, and out went all the female underwear. Followed by sports bras, all the other types of bras out the door. Then started wearing ties to work, made me feel confident. Then started buying men's shirts and pants until there was not a shred of women's clothing left in my closet. It felt right. I was happy for a little while. What was wrong with me? Maybe I was not with the right type of lesbians. Maybe it was the academic ones I needed to be with, or maybe the social justice lesbians. At 37 years old, I was in the midst of breaking up with my fourth girlfriend in 7 years, as some lesbians do. I was watching TV, and up came a new reality TV show called Being Chaz. Chaz Bono opened up his life to cameras as they filmed every intimate part of his gender transition. I saw Chaz struggle and talk about why he was transitioning. Suddenly, I was transported back to my 14-year-old self, working out that lesbian math problem. Instead of having a panic attack, though, I went numb. I said out loud, "Oh, I think that's me." I wish I could say I was relieved, but I wasn't. I thought about how unfair it was that I lived nearly half my life as the wrong person. How was I going to tell my parents, my sisters, my nephews? What about my career? What would I do on LinkedIn, Facebook, my coworkers? Would anybody ever actually love me again? Less than a year later, I landed in California, and within 2 months, sadly, my father died. I remember when his father died, he went to the Daily Minion for 9 months and steadfastly every yahrzeit afterwards. I decided I would do the same and found a temple in Pasadena that happened to be conservative, sort of back at my roots. I wasn't sure how it was going to go since I was already sort of presenting as male. It was as if it was all by design, because when I entered the sanctuary that Friday night, there stood Rabbi Becky leading the service. He used male pronouns, presented as male, and was leading a service wearing a kippah and talit, and congregants, young and old, were mesmerized by his sermons. We became friends. I continued to say Kaddish every Friday night and watch people not bat an eye about his gender. They embraced me as well. He introduced me to other trans men. I found solace as a mourner and my soul fed by positive role models. My father's death opened me up to finally embarking on my true self, and oddly enough, back into Judaism. I was finally ready. On March 1st, 2017, I took my first testosterone shot given to me by my girlfriend, who saw me for me and could have cared less what gender I presented. The following month, I made a coming out video for 150 of my closest coworkers at City of Hope in the philanthropy department, which was shared by a trans consultant who over a period of 2 days ran 6 small workshops to educate and allow for questions about what it meant to be transgender. My workplace gave everybody 2 weeks to get my new pronouns right and start calling me Eli, and they did. The next month, I came out to my 80-year-old mother, my sisters, my nephews, scheduled myself for a double mastectomy with chest reconstruction, and this week is the 1-year anniversary of that procedure. Thank you. Thank you. Last January, my mother and the rabbi who named me 42 years ago came to my Pasadena temple where they gave me my new Hebrew name, Elon Hanan, in front of 25 7th graders, their parents, congregants, and my family. Last April, I went to court and legally changed my first name and gender marker. I argue with my girlfriend that my transition is not emotional for me. For me, it has been a list of tasks. Start testosterone, check. come out at work, check, tell my family, have top surgery, get legal name, gender marker change, new social security card, new license, new credit cards, LinkedIn, Facebook, passport. It seemed endless. I wanted to get through all of it as fast as possible so I could be normal, not different. I would love if I didn't have to stand in front of you all tonight and share my story. But I know I need to. I need to try and normalize being transgender for others, for myself, and for those who have not discovered themselves yet to be transgender. I know I have white privilege. I know I'm lucky. So this is my responsibility as a Jew. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said, "There is immense silent agony in the world, and the task of man is to be a voice for the plundered poor, to prevent the desecration of the soul and the violation of our dream of honesty." He says, "The more deeply immersed I became in thinking of the prophets, the more powerfully it became clear to me what the lives of the prophets sought to convey. That morally speaking, there is no limit to the concern one must feel for the suffering of human beings. That indifference to evil is worse than evil itself. That in a free society, some are guilty, but all are responsible. As Jews, I believe we are called to action. So I know you may be asking yourself right now, as a cisgendered person perhaps, what can I do? You could acknowledge your own understanding of what transgender means. You can go online and look up transgender terms and read articles from Planned Parenthood, GLAAD, HRC. There are endless sources out there. If you make a mistake when talking to a transgender person, you make a mistake with their pronouns, apologize and move on. Don't make them do the emotional labor of having to accept your apologies over and over. If you're cisgender, add to your email your preferred pronouns at the end of your email. Small things like that. There's so many more, and I ran out of time to write them all down. Thank you for listening. Do you want me to ask for if anybody has questions, or we're already kind of past time? If anybody has any questions or would like to talk to me afterwards, I will be at the Oneg. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, everybody.
Great.
You'll have a chance to greet Eli at the Oneg Shabbat at our fellowship hour. I'm going to invite the chorus back up for another piece of beautiful music at this time.
Discouraged, though I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all in the darkness there inside you. makes you feel so small.
And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a show me a smile then, and don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy, and you've taken all you can bear, don't you know you can call me all because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors, beautiful like a rainbow. Dun, dun, da, 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 dun, dun, da, 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 da,
I can't remember when I last saw you laugh. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, you call me
Call
up.
me up because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors. Your true colors are shining through. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
Wow. Okay, they still have one more piece to do. But I feel like I'm just going to say this. Normally we do like all this, hi, welcome to Kolami. We're so glad you came tonight. Hi, everybody online. Everybody turn around and wave to everybody on Facebook Live and live streaming tonight, because that's what we do here. So hi, everybody. Okay. But I do have to say this, because you're just it's such an inspiring Sabbath for us tonight. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, chorus. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. I want to thank our liaisons to the LGBTQ community who are here. outgoing and incoming. Julie. And I want to thank our members who participated tonight. Holden, Emmett, and Alan. We thank you. Friday night, December 7th, Hanukkah.